Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to the Introvert Dating Success Show, courtesy of introvertdatingsuccess.com. I'm your host, Harry Wilmington. This is the show, and that is the website where you can go to learn how to date as your authentic, introverted self while still getting your precious alone time. And on today's show, we're going to be answering a question from a guy who wants to try to figure out where he currently stands with a girl. He hasn't been able to get physical with her yet due to all the stuff going on in the world with viruses and stuff. And so he's not being able to really tell where he's at with the girl and wants to know how to figure that out, and also what he can do to push the physicality of their budding relationship. So we're going to answer all that today. First off, as always, for more of these shows, you can go to introvertdatingsuccess.com. You can find us on YouTube, iTunes, and if you join the show on Patreon and become a Patreon member, then you will get access to these shows a week before anybody else. Now, for those of you that are keeping tabs, this coming Friday, June 19th, I'll be releasing my entire catalog of Stop Losing Women podcasts. For those of you that are new to this show, that was a previous podcast I had, over 400 episodes, that was all about the ins and outs of how to meet, greet, attract, and date the women of your dreams and be able to sustain a long-term relationship. And that show was very, very popular and helped out a lot of guys who have been asking me, hey, are you going to ever release these to the public? So yes, they will be coming back out this Friday. I will have a link at the website where you can go. It's going to be subscription-based, so you can either pay a monthly or a one-time fee to have access to all the shows, but that is coming out this Friday. In the meantime, if you have any questions you ever want answered on one of these shows, you can write to me by going to the website, introvertdatingsuccess.com, and clicking on the contact tab. Also, you can go there to get coaching as well. Just click the coaching tab, and we can set something up for a one-on-one phone consultation about anything you want to talk about. All right, so let's go ahead and get into today's show. So it goes a little something like this. He says, I've seen a girl a few times. We originally met through a dating app. I'm 29 and she's 30. I haven't really been too physical with her with the disease, COVID, and everything. As a result, I'm having a tough time understanding where I stand with her. In my head, you can usually answer that question with where you've been physically with a girl. So I guess my question is, assuming we are taking anything physical out of the equation, how do I figure out where I stand with her without being too forward? As in, is there any general roundabout way of approaching the topic? Also, our plan is to go for ice cream on Tuesday. I know this might sound stupid, but do you have any tips on getting more physical? Okay, so first off, kudos to this guy for doing online dating. I highly encourage anybody, but particularly introverted men, to try online dating. It's a great way to almost run like a simulation of being able to test out different openers, different messages, different ways of asking women out, and it'll start to make you less nervous when you approach these situations in public. So for those of you that are wanting to do online dating, I say do it. If you need help figuring out what kind of messages you need to be sending to make sure that you're going to get responses, I have a whole free training about that at the website on the front page. So be sure to check that out. But yeah, so he's got the date. That's great. Obviously, with all the stuff that's been going on in the world, meeting new people and trying to get physical with them can seem like quite the obstacle. That said, since this guy's clearly set up a date for Tuesday with the girl with ice cream, that's going to be an in-person thing. If you are seeing somebody and you're regularly actually starting to meet up with them, chances are you're probably meeting up, you're in close proximity to each other. Obviously, at that point, you're probably thinking at the very least, you're comfortable enough with her to where you don't think you're going to catch anything. So at your own discretion, determine if that means then that you're willing to go physical with this person. If, by the way, if you're looking at her like you're not seeing any symptoms, you're not feeling like you're getting anything, and you're spending time with her anyway, that could be something you add. But that said, that is a thing that could be transmitted. So your best bet is to wear protection if you decide to go that route. But we'll get to that in a minute. So anyway, so the part where he says he's having a hard time understanding, this is really like a major issue for guys. And I understand, because it used to be a major issue for me. I wouldn't even like ask out women unless I knew on some level that they were possibly thinking about me as a potential relationship partner. Okay. So I understand the hesitation, and part of you wants to know where she's at because you don't want to jump the gun, or you want to want to try to lock this down so that way you're assured of her feelings, okay? But you got to understand there's a balance to the game, and then there's a way that you have to build up attraction so that way it's more solidified. If you are dating a girl and after 1 or 2 dates you're like, hey, so what are we? We're boyfriend and girlfriend, then you're probably going to scare off a girl who would have liked you and would have become your girlfriend because you didn't give her enough time. You didn't let her brain incubate itself into like raising its attraction for you by way of seeing you, going away, seeing you, going away. And there's no need to rush that process. And I know a lot of guys think like, oh, there's going to be other guys jumping in there, or you're thinking like, well, how am I going to know for sure? And I've talked about on this podcast before, there are many ways, but basically the gist of it is if you're asking her out and she's saying yes, and she's not flaking on dates, and she's also offering up date ideas, then you're good. You're in her good graces. And during the dating phase, you might think, well, what if she's seeing other people? That's in her right. But again, look for the consistency in her behavior. She's consistently accepting dates with you. That means that she's building desire and like for you, and it's all good. Once she stops doing those things, that means the like is tapering off. So that's the easiest way to tell where you stand with the girl. But the worst thing you can do as a guy is to be the one to come up with this whole, hey, so I've been thinking about, we've been going out for a while now, like, what are we? I always tell guys this. It is your job as the guy to go after the dates and after the physicalities. It is her job to accept those, but then it's also her job to decide when she and you should be ready for a relationship, because your timing for that is going to be a lot faster than hers. And so for guys, we're like, after 2 or 3 dates, we're ready. She could be the girlfriend, lock her down. Women on average, we'll just go based on me. Based on the girls that I've dated, I would say on average it takes 2 to 3.5 months before they come to me and say, hey, so what are we? Now, that doesn't mean that they would not do it earlier, but I'm very calm, cool, and collected about how I date now. So I know the process of them questioning in their mind if it's a good time to bring it up. I know the process they need of having to talk to their girlfriends and their family members about, well, I'm seeing this guy and we're doing these things and, you know, we're doing this activity and this activity. Does this mean he likes me? Does this mean that we're boyfriend or girlfriend? I'm not sure. And that unsureness is actually beneficial to having her increase her interest. And once she gets to the point where she realizes that, oh, I don't want to lose this guy, and what if he is dating other people? I might have competition out there that I don't know about that could make him want to go away. That's going to be a better avenue for you to get in than you trying to ask her too early and force this thing. Because if you ask too early, most women are too nice to want to turn you down, other than being like, well, I'm sure we can be friends. So it's really in your best interest to just kind of like go with the flow. Like I said, if you're getting dates and she's saying yes and she's not being flaky, then just assume that you're good until she brings up that she is ready to have that conversation, or she starts flaking off and she decides that she doesn't want to date you anymore, at which point, I'm sorry, you're out of luck. So that's how I would leave that. Now, in reference to the physicality part, I do understand that it can be very hard, in part, to gauge where a woman's at in her feelings with you if you guys aren't doing anything physical. And it's not that you need to have physicality in your relationship or in your dating phase to establish some kind of feeling. Because let me tell you, a woman, you can go out with her for 3 or 4 dates, have some really good physical intimacy, and then she be gone. So you can't measure a woman's like for you by that. That said, that does typically tend to be a hallmark of a budding relationship, and one that's going to be going somewhere ideally. So the only thing though is that a lot of guys, you know, in this climate between women's lib and feminism and all the lies we've been taught about how women want to be able to not date guys that are just after one thing and want to be able to choose this and that, it can be very hard to figure out what your role is supposed to be in terms of bringing physicality to a relationship. And it's very, very simple, okay? Here is what your role is. Your role is to make moves that set up instances where physicality can happen, and then it's her job to subtly yay or nay those, okay? So, perfect example, okay? For example, this guy's going to get ice cream with his girlfriend on Tuesday, okay? So, when he's at the ice cream shop, let's say they're looking at the menu and he sees cherry ice cream, okay? So he can say something that's very, very sly, innuendo-ish, like, you know, wow, they got cherry ice cream on the menu. Oh, I do love me some cherries. Now, most people universally know that what cherries can be a euphemism for, and most women know this as well. So if he were to say something like that, it's indicating that there's a interest of physicality there, but it's not so direct that it's off-putting, because women are really, in terms of their own communication with each other, are really about subtleties and about kind of like hinting at things without having to be outright about it. That's just a generality. It's not everybody, but that's a generality just to start with, okay? So when you say that, if she responds with her own kind of innuendo or says something like, "Oh, you like cherries, do you?" Just that interaction will let you know, oh, she actually like doesn't mind me thinking about her in that way. Because women that do mind will be like, "Oh, what are you talking about? Oh, yeah, that's disgusting." At which point you play it off like, "Oh, no, I mean, I really like cherry ice cream. Like, what do you think I was talking about?" But you can use innuendo to try to see if there's a level of that there. Also, like I said, you set up instances for where things can happen. So if she hasn't been to this guy's house before, for example, he could say, "Hey, like I got this really nice poster at my house of this musician," or I used to have a roommate that would, when he would travel around the world, he would get these rugs and stuff and things, and he would hang them on his wall. And I was like, "Why the heck are you hanging these things on your wall?" So when we would throw parties at my apartment, he'd talk to a girl and be like, "Hey, like I got these really cool looking like rugs that I got from this other country in my room. You want to check it out?" "Oh, sure." What was he doing? He was setting up a allegedly innocent activity for them to go do, which now gives her the excuse to go back to his room. Now, once they're back there, if things just start to happen, oh my gosh, he can just say, "Well, he can show me his rug." And then we just kind of sat there and talked, and I felt really safe. And oh my God, because women in general need to have a credible story about that night that she can tell to her girlfriends that does not make her look like a slut, but still allows her to have the fun that she wanted to have. And it has to be your fault, okay? And this is a good thing, because again, if she's saying yes to these various things that you're mentioning, it means that she actually is saying yes to sex. But she can't just come out and say yes to sex like I'm just saying to you now, because that looks a certain way. And men will also judge her for doing that as well. There's plenty of songs that say, "Yeah, this girl was a HO and blah, blah, blah." And it's like, "But you're the one that invited her to the room." But so women are worried about that. So you have to be the one to do it. And if you're setting up scenarios where that can just happen, then it's going to make it easier. And that's how you read these. You set up a scenario. You say, "Hey, let's go to my place and I got wine and some Netflix. Let's just go watch this movie that just came out on Netflix." If she says yes to that, women universally know that if they get invited to a guy's house for wine, dinner, and a movie, it means that he wants to get some action. They know this. So if she says yes and agrees to do that, you just got the yellow light that says, "I'm pretty sure we can do some stuff." Now, I say yellow light, not green light, because yellow light, you still got to, when you get there, you still got to be the one to like, you got to kiss her first, you got to caress her in certain ways. But if she's coming over to your place, I'd say like 7 times out of 10, she's doing some stuff. The other 3 times, they're probably just messing with you for attention, in which case you wouldn't want to see them anyway, and you send them home and you find somebody else. But in my experience, if they're coming to your home, or if they're inviting you to their place and they're having you sit on their bed and they're having you like cuddle up and say, "Oh, you can just, if you get tired, you can just stay over," whatever. All those things are saying it's green light, go, okay? But you set that stuff up and then you'll be surprised at the results. So you got to be a little forceful. I know as introverts, it can be really hard to like the idea of making moves before we're completely sure about every single thing about this person, but that's part of the game. And the nice part is, again, women are typically very subtle. So if you make a move and she's not ready for that move, you just leave. She'll tell you. She'll let you know. Like if you try to reach for, her top region and she kind of gently moves your hand back, she's not ready for that. Okay, fine. You go back to kissing or whatever. You maybe try a few minutes later. If she does it again, then that's definitely out for the night. If she decides to let you touch at that time, then you keep progressing to other steps. And that's what I find. I find that sometimes, because women are always in their head about, what is this making me look like? You got to keep that in mind. So you might go for a move and she might initially reject it, and you might think, "Oh, but that's just it." But really she's having to convince herself like, "Oh, he went for this move. Wait, do I like that move? Like, I'm kind of comfortable with the guy. Like, okay, if he does it again, then I'll probably let him have a feel around or whatever." So again, and I say this saying, if she at any time says no, or looks like she's legitimately saying, "Hey, this isn't cool," then don't proceed further, because I don't want you guys to get any cases, okay? But I've been in plenty of scenarios where I reach for something the hand gets hit back, I kind of go back to what I was doing before, and then they're grabbing my hand and moving it to that area, or I'm able to go there and there's no resistance, okay? So just be mindful of that when you're going to these realms. But as the guy, you got to be the one to make these moves going forward. As long as she's saying yes to these scenarios you're setting up, then you're generally pretty good to go, okay? And don't think for a second that women are going to tell you at all, hey, I'm cool with you having sex with you right now. Like, again, that's just not in their nature. That's not how they were raised to approach these situations, okay? It's been a situation for them where it's a dirty subject, where they're going to look a certain way if they're not virginal girls when they get married. So, don't make them be the ones that have to bring up the subject of that. Just know that you got to do some stuff that's going to help her to agree to these things in a comfortable way to where she's going to end up doing something she wanted to do anyway. Anyway, that's all I got for today's show. For more of these shows, go to introvertdatingsuccess.com, as well as YouTube, as well as iTunes, and of course, patreon.com, Introvert Dating Success, where if you become a patron, you'll get access to these shows a week before they come out anywhere else. And it's a great way to show your support. You can also show your support by going to the website, clicking on the tip jar tab, and leaving whatever you'd like to show that you care about this show and that it's helping you out immensely. This coming Friday, June 19th, the complete catalog of Stop Losing Women podcasts will be coming out and will be available for you to access on a subscription monthly basis. So be sure to check in for that on the website on Friday. In the meantime, if you are in need of one-on-one coaching and want my help, you can click on the coaching tab and we can get that situated. Also, if you have any questions you want answered on this show, make sure it's like a short 2 or 3 paragraphs, but I'd be happy to answer for you. And you can do that by clicking the contact tab. In the meantime, go to the website, check out the various ebooks we have. I have ebooks on texting, ebooks on how to get your ex-girlfriend back. I got ebooks on what not to do when you're trying to date. And of course, we have free video training that'll teach you all about the content messages to send to women on dating apps that will actually get them to respond back. I'm Harry Wilmington, and I will catch you guys on the next show. I'm out. Peace.